1/25 640 ISO 1.2 handheld Z8.
There it is. There is the bike, and you can see on the back there we've got the tripod. I have a delivery that's local, and I jump on my bike, and it's a great opportunity to get a little bit of exercise, get the heart rate up. Also a great way to have a bit of a tour. I don't know if you can see here in the shadows, but there is the ZF with the NoNikkor Nocty, which is fantastic. Try to squeeze off a few shots with that. Which is the Peak design, which is absolutely fab. Really enjoying it. Bike 2.8 city background. That's just a nice, really nice lens. We're shooting today on the Osmo Pocket, which is just I've just done about a 18 kilometer, or what is that? Let's say 20 kilometers. What is that in miles? It's probably something like 12 or 13 mile ride. Fantastic. And look, I'm out here in the outer suburbs of Melbourne. I just actually delivered to a BMW dealership one of my books. That's where I just delivered to. Fantastic people. Now I'm back on the road, heading back to take a few packages to the post office because, for example, I can't ride my bike to Norway. Well, I probably could, but it would probably take a year or something. All right, let's get this party going. All right, well here we are at 1.2, 1/8000th ISO 100, bit bright, but geez, it's a lovely lens. And we can see a little bit of fringing there in the logo.
This shot, Nocty ZF shooting 4K, and the ZF and rolling shutter looks pretty good here with these cars doing 100 kilometers, 60 miles per hour. I don't quite know what it is about shopping trolleys. Maybe it's because they're shiny, maybe it's because people do weird things with them, and here's just another example. We are looking at the NoNikkor Nocty 50mm 1.2, and this image here, now I want to show you my very high-tech system for recording the aperture, and this is it here. 2 fingers means it's 2.8, so that's at 2.8. 1 finger means it's at 1.2, and we can clearly see the tree is softer with the 1.2. The 1.2 is on the right. But if we look at these wheels here, and we can see that the focus with the 1.2 is at the back, that's looking pretty good. We'll go into 100%. And that's not bad. I think part of what I like about these objects is they're shiny, they're also sharp, so we can really get a sense of what's going on here. Quite nice, quite sharp. We also get a sense here of what's going on with aberrations, just the smallest amount of purple here, very minimal, and you can see that's minimized and it's more towards a green. Now I've reset focus. I reset focus between these shots. Focus for this shot was towards the front of these trolleys. But even at 2.8, there is a lot more depth of field than 1.2. And thus, as we can see here, you know, this is a hard object. It's shiny. We've got some sunlight hitting it, which is giving us those really bright highlights. They're clear to see. And yeah, sure. Okay, let's go into, I don't know, 300%. And there's the smallest amount of purple fringing. Now I'm in Capture One, and I think that Lightroom is better at removing purple fringing than Capture One, but let's have a look at what that does. So let's go Yeah, so we can see there, that's definitely making a difference to the 2.8. And then over here, let's do the same thing. It's making a small impact, but quite a big difference between these two images. I think this lens looks very sharp at 2.8, but that's pretty clean, pretty sharp. And then 1.2, you know, I'm happy with that result. If you're okay with that sort of look, and I really like this dreamy look. I mean, from a video perspective, superb. Yes, and this is a harsh environment, but there you go. That gives you a little bit of an idea of 1.2 on the right versus 2.8 on the left. Both are looking great, and there is a lot of pop. 2.8, the focus is at the front of the frame, around about here, and you can just see this lovely, like very soft, very painterly fall off. And just watch very closely here where I do my high-tech aperture recording. There you go, there's the two fingers, and then I go down to the 1.2, and there is the one finger. That's it, that's all it takes. You can do it as well. Do we need an instant replay? Well, let's just look at this at 500% at 25% slow motion. Look, two fingers, that's just expertly done. Change the aperture, and there we go. And one finger. Unbelievable work there from Matt. Well, everybody, that was a pretty epic ride. I think we're talking 35 to 40 Ks, somewhere between 30 and 40 Ks. Matt Irwin delivers. I do. I actually sometimes deliver, sometimes do it in my van. Today it was on the wheels of fury. But it really does have that old school look about it. I mean, look at that. That's fantastic. We're focused at about 1 meter at the moment. Go all the way, that just blows everything out. That's all the way. Not helpful, but something there is interesting, and we can see the green fringing and then a bit of purple fringing. It's pretty minor and it's pretty pleasant because it's just so soft. Now I'm going to go to f4, which will be better for this much light. There's f4, and we can see a lot more of the fringing is gone. Still a little bit of green we can see in there. It's pretty good, and I think the purple's pretty much gone. Let's go to 2.8, and tiniest bit of green, and again purple is maybe just very slight, but it's part of the look. I don't mind it. Out on the beach today, so we've got the Osmo Pocket on the left, got the phone navigating, and the bike's Speedo. It's a pretty heavily rigged bike, and I just added here the kryptonite lock. Just seeing what I think of that. But yeah, it's good rig, frame rate 1/8000. That's why the iPhone's looking weird. 2.8, and we can see the bokeh is looking really nice. Even on the edge there, it's looking pretty good. 2.8, 1/50th ISO 1250 on the Z8. And we'll just pull that into focus very gently. And you can see that 2.8 is just looking fantastic. Absolutely great. Let me pull that out of focus again. Here's the Nocty Nocturnal at night. Started with black and white. It's not a particularly amazing frame, but this is a handheld at 1/6 of a second, so showing depth of field, and of course the beautiful, beautiful soft rendering that this lens creates in the background. This is shot on the Z8. We'll very quickly look at the metadata. Z8 Nocty, and that's because I told the camera and I named the lens. You have to do that when there's no CPU coupling. This image is shot at 1.2, handheld at 1/6 of a second, and I think at 100% that's hanging together pretty well. I do think we have a little bit of camera movement here. This is not a sharpness thing, this is a movement thing, but we get a sense of fringing. Yes, there's a tiny bit, but I don't think it's particularly distracting. And of course the background just looks so soft, so gorgeous, and I really like those bokeh balls that we can see there. They're, I suppose, a little bit onion ringy, but I really like it. And they very much change depending on the type of light source, the size of the light source, and the level of out of focusness. So that is not the final word on the bokeh here with this lens. Now, of course, we could go black and white. This image might look more compelling, black and white, increase the contrast a little. Merry Christmas lights and the Christmas star and Flinders Street Station all lit up in Christmas colors, we can clearly see here. And there's two levels of out of focusness. Just lovely. Again, love the way that renders. It looks absolutely beautiful. We are at 64 ISO, 1/20th of a second at 1.2. Now you can see 1.2 down there on the bottom left. That's not coming from the lens. That's because I've told the camera that this is a 50mm 1.2. So every shot is a 50mm 1.2 regardless of whether it is or it is not. 1.2. So we can see, I was trying to get critical focus here on these lights. I think that's pretty good. That's 100%. And you can see the fall off in the background very clearly there. Probably my favorite collection of shots from the evening are these three here. And that first one's probably my favorite. I really like this shot. This is at half a second handheld. Half a second. Pretty extraordinary with a 50mm lens. We can see here that this is the center of the image, and that's very sharp. Now we are at 2.8 with this particular shot. So 2.8, half a second, the center looks glorious. Sure, if we go out into the corners here, not only are we out of focus, but we are also in the corner of this lens. So it does get a little bit smeary out there. I'm okay with this. This is part of the look of this lens when you're getting to the out of focus areas. Again, we can see here in the background. And I think this is also showing us that the center of this lens is very sharp and it gets less sharp towards the edges. And something I haven't talked about yet is I think the color rendition of this lens is extraordinary. You can see here I've done nothing to this file other than bring up the shadows. That is all I've done. I have made no adjustments for color, sharpness, contrast, no onion rings with these. Now, I'm not enough of a lens engineer to understand what the difference is going on here. We have one bokeh ball up the top here with a little start of a ring. This is a completely different look to that previous image. This soft orange area here, I just find absolutely delightful. This is amazing. And if you look at the video of me coming up shortly, standing in this frame with this background and just how extraordinary and soft and beautiful, yet if you had a DOP, I'm moving obviously, so I can't keep myself in focus, and I didn't have a screen so I couldn't see myself. This is real, and then you can put a person in focus in front of this, further away focusing but still out of focus. 2.8, all of these are at 2.8. I think it looks gorgeous. I think the Nocty is a beautiful lens. I think for its price point, if you're interested in kind of playing with light, playing with out of focus areas, and you're happy to have a fully manual lens, you are getting no EXIF information. You are getting no automatic control with this lens. It is 100% manual. If you're good with all of that, you are getting a lens which is a lot of fun. And when you need to shoot in super low light, you can use that 1.2. I think it's usable. And once you stop it down to 2 or 2.8, it's absolutely looking spectacular. This is a really nice lens. Obviously, we can see here how well it's working on the Z8 in both video. Of course, this lens could be used for video. I think videographers would love it. And for stills. Well, here I am at about 1 meter. The lens is at 2.8. We are at 1/50th shooting 8K on the Z8 with the Nocty, and it's pretty surreal. And the closer I pull focus to minimum focus, the more surreal this background looks. But I didn't want to just be an eyeball in frame, but it's pretty amazing. An hour and a half-ish heart rates up in the 120s to 150s. That's always good. I love to deliver if I can. This particular client needed a book, Melbourne and Love Affair book, very, very quickly. And I'm like, all right, it's not that far away. I will ride. And of course, we saw the Nocty, the Nocty NoNikkor, a few images from it on my journey. How good is that little lens? I'm just really loving how those out of focus areas work with that lens. Sure, there's just an absolute smidge of purple and green fringing, but it's only a little bit. I think it's a beauty. It's great on the ZF, looking great on the Z8, and well, you can decide for yourself whether it's a lens that's for you, but I think it's a great little number. Please, but more importantly, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. It's been so good to see you, and if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again, so please do subscribe, please share, and please like. All right, bye for now.